8:45 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news, edited by Lakshman Fonseca and read by Mario Vijayavardhana. The headlines. The Sri Lanka Banks Association issues a statement warning a rise of online scams. Religious ceremonies were conducted according to Buddhist rituals in Sri Lanka in line with the funeral of Professor Nalin De Silva, which was held in California. The Excise Department records a 26% year-on-year revenue increase in comparison to 2023. The Met Department says the heat wave will remain the same during the next 2 weeks. The Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment says nearly 3,000 Sri Lankans have left for Israel for well-paid jobs. The US blames the Rwandan army and M23 rebel groups for the deadly bombing of a displacement camp in Congo. The Sri Lanka Banks Association, Lanka Pay and Fin CSIRT issued a joint statement on warning the general public of the rise of online scams. The statement said that they have been alerted regarding several incidents of financial fraud both globally and in Sri Lanka, disguised as attractive online offers leading to mobile device users inadvertently clicking on unknown links and downloading malicious apps and files. The statement added once the fraudsters take control of the mobile device, they have easy access to bank or payment apps that are installed on the device, leading to theft from bank accounts and payment cards accessed via the mobile device. Through the joint statement, they advise the general public to be vigilant in order to avoid falling prey to such scams. They say these fraudsters use social media platforms, websites, and online messaging platforms to carry out such fraudulent activities. The funeral of Professor Nalin De Silva, which was held in California, US today in line with the funeral religious ceremonies, were also conducted according to Buddhist rituals in Sri Lanka. The religious rites are conducted at the All Ceylon Buddhist Congress in Colombo 7 this evening. Several national and international organizations led by the Mahasangha participated in the event together with Venerable Alle Gunavansathera and the chairman of the Chintana Prade, Venerable Bengamwe Nalakathera. National leaders led by Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena also participated in the event. Speaking at the gathering, Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said the services rendered by the late Professor De Silva was remarkable and historical. He commended his services for the betterment of the Sinhalese culture and Buddhism and said the vacuum created by his demise will not be able to be filled for a long time. Professor De Silva was a distinguished figure in theoretical physics, philosophy and political analysis. He died on the 1st of May while visiting his son in the US. He was 79. The Excise Department has recorded a 26% year-on-year revenue increase in comparison to the equivalent period in 2023. The Commissioner General of Excise M.J. Gunasiri said the department has successfully recorded a 26% YOY increase in excise duties collected during the first 4 months of this year. He attributed this to the increase in excise tariffs and the tax administration efforts of the department. He said that the sharp increase in excise tariffs over the past 2 years, with a 15% increase in prices in 2024 itself, had adversely impacted the demand for excise articles. As a result, the production volumes of all excise articles continue to trail behind the volumes recorded in 2022. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Met Department says the temperature felt on the human body will remain high over the next 2 weeks. Senior meteorologist Chaminda De Silva said that the situation is not expected to ease until the southwest monsoon currents begin to develop around the island. Meanwhile, health officials have repeated their advice to the people on the importance of staying hydrated as heat stress could cause health issues. They say extreme heat conditions could lead to dehydration and it can worsen pre-existing medical issues such as kidney or lung disease and also lead to sudden heart attacks or strokes. They say extra care must be taken for vulnerable groups such as those over 65 years of age, infants, young children and pregnant women. They stress the importance of drinking water even before one feels thirsty. Health officials say it is also important to try to hold outdoor events during the coolest part of the day, stay indoors during the heat, and refrain from exercising when the weather is hot. Nearly 3,000 Sri Lankans have left for Israel for well-paid jobs in the construction, agriculture and healthcare sectors during the past 4 months. The Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment Regional Manager for Kurunegala R. Ratna said that only 1,912 Sri Lankans had taken up recruitment in Israel last year. He said the Sri Lankan and Israel governments had signed an MOU to provide job opportunities to skilled and Sri Lankan workers. He said the government also intends to send nearly 350,000 skilled Sri Lankan workers for lucrative jobs in the Middle East and European countries according to their vocational experience and professional qualifications.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
The Sri Lanka Banks Association, Lanka Pay and Fin CSIRT issued a joint statement on warning the general public over the rise in online scams. The statement said that they have been alerted regarding several incidents of financial fraud both globally and in Sri Lanka, disguised as attractive online offers leading to mobile device users inadvertently clicking on unknown links and downloading malicious apps and files. The statement added once the fraudsters take control of the mobile device, they have easy access to bank or payment apps that are installed on that device, leading to theft from bank accounts and payment cards accessed via the mobile device. Through the joint statement, they advise the general public to be more vigilant in order to avoid falling prey to such scams.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
And now in Watchlight. The Met Department forecasts that the maximum temperature in the north, central and eastern provinces as well as the Mondragala district will range from 36 to 37 degrees Celsius until the second week of May. The department says that the heat index is expected to increase up to the caution level at some places in the western, Sabaragamu and southern provinces. Renowned Sri Lankan professor of coastal oceanography Charita Pattiarachchi at the University of Western Australia warns of high temperatures and humidity combined with low winds to increase the temperature up to 40 plus degrees Celsius in the island. That came to you in Watchlight. In world news headlines now. The US blames Rwandan army and M23 rebel group for the deadly bombing of a displacement camp in Congo. Netanyahu says Israel cannot accept Hamas demands at the ceasefire talks. UNICEF unveils a new vision to protect and empower adolescent girls in Pakistan. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said Israel will not accept Hamas's demands for Israel to end the Gaza war. It comes as negotiators were resuming talks in Egypt to broker a peace in Israel's Gaza offensive in return for the release of hostages taken by Hamas. The main sticking point appears to be the truce will be permanent as Hamas insists or not. Mr. Netanyahu said the proposed deal would keep Hamas in control of Gaza, posing a threat to Israel. It is thought the wording being discussed in the Cairo talks involves a 40-day pause in fighting while hostages are released and the release of a number of Palestinian prisoners being held in Israeli jails. An advisor to the Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh said the group was looking at the latest proposal with full seriousness, but he repeated the demand that any deal would have to explicitly include an Israeli withdrawal from Gaza and complete end to the war. The US has blamed the Rwandan army and M23 rebel group for the deadly bombing of a displacement camp in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. At least 9 people, including 7 children, were killed in the strike on the Mugunga camp in the eastern city of Goma on Friday. The Congolese army and M23 blamed each other for the attack. Rwanda, which borders DR Congo, is widely accused of backing the rebel group and called the US accusation ridiculous. Rwandan government spokesperson Yolande Makalo said the Rwanda Defense Force was a professional army that would never attack a camp for internally displaced people. The US State Department said Friday's attack came from positions held by the RDF and the M23 group. A spokesperson said the US was gravely concerned about the recent RDF and M23 expansion in eastern DR Congo and called on both parties to respect human rights and adhere to applicable obligations under international humanitarian law. Images circulating on social media showed bodies lying on the ground at the camp on Friday. And now the main points of the world news segment once again. The US blames the Rwandan army and M23 rebel group for the deadly bombing of a displacement camp in Congo. Netanyahu says Israel cannot accept Hamas demands at the ceasefire talks. UNICEF unveils new vision to protect and empower adolescent girls in Pakistan. That was world news, and now in development news.
Development news.
The State Minister of Tourism Diana Gamage reveals plans to designate 49 additional tourist destinations as official tourist zones. These locations will be published in a gazette within a month as part of the ongoing efforts to boost tourism. During a press conference held today at the Presidential Media Centre under the theme Collective Path to a Stable Country, State Minister for Tourism Diana Gambig announced plans to establish a dedicated committee tasked with preventing and monitoring fraud and corruption within the tourism sector.
Moving on with sports news.
Two forceful candidates will contest top posts when the Netball Federation of Sri Lanka, NFSL, conducts its election on the 30th of May. Nominations close on the 22nd of April, and the two who have submitted their names to contest top post are former national player and president Tamara Dharmakirti Herap and the incumbent president Lakshmi Victoria. Both of them are well known to have worked hard to uplift the standard of the game. Any objections to the nominations at the NFSL election will be studied, and the final list of names will be officially announced on the 30th of May. Members of 32 district associations affiliated to the NFSL will cast their vote to elect the new office bearers. A deputy president and 4 vice presidents, a secretary, an assistant secretary, a treasurer and an assistant treasurer, and a tournament secretary will be elected.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හින හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න. The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Apple sales have fallen in almost every market across the globe. The company said that demand for its smartphones dropped by more than 10% in the first 3 months of this year, while overall sales fell in every geographic region except for Europe. Apple said that overall revenues across the company declined by $90.8 billion, which was the biggest drop for more than a year. Nevertheless, the results are not as bad as expected, and Apple's share price rose in after-hours trading in New York. The company said the figures were distorted by COVID-related supply disruptions, which led to unusually strong sales during the same period last year.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හින හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න. The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
And now in economic news, the annual meeting of the Asian Development Bank officially began in Georgia's capital Tbilisi on Saturday. The ADB is committed to assisting countries in Asia and the Pacific by providing loans, grants and technical assistance for infrastructure and other projects. During the opening ceremony, the ADB's president Asakawa Masagatsu noted that the world's poorest and most vulnerable populations, including people in island nations, are suffering due to climate change, economic shocks and conflict. He stressed that no one should be denied the benefits of development.
Weather report.
The Met Department says showers or thundershowers will occur at several places in the western Sabaragamu and the central provinces and in the Gala and Mathura districts after 2 p.m. Showers or thundershowers may occur at a few places in the northwestern province during the afternoon or night. A few showers may occur over the coastal areas of Puttalama to Gala via Colombo during the morning too. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the central and Sabaragamu provinces during the morning. That was over the report, and now the headlines of this news broadcast once again. The Sri Lanka Banks Association issues a statement on warning of rise in online scams. A religious ceremony was conducted according to Buddhist rituals in Sri Lanka in line with the funeral of Professor Nalin De Silva held in California. The Excise Department records a 26% YOY revenue increase in comparison to 2023. The Met Department says the heat wave will remain the same during the next 2 weeks. The Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment says nearly 3,000 Sri Lankans have left for Israel for well-paid jobs. The US blames the Rwandan army and M23 rebel group for the deadly bombing of a displacement camp in Congo. That concludes this news broadcast. You are with Radio Sri Lanka.